Good afternoon. Oh, come we can do better than that. Good afternoon. We like that. Hi. Welcome to the Wednesday, June 3rd, 2026 regular meeting of the Board of Public Education. Glad to see such a crowd here today. I hope we have a crowd online as well. First of all, I will make sure that we did publish this meeting. I've been assured that it has been published. If we would all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will now ask for the approval of the agenda. Microphone, please.
Move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor? Wonderful. All right. First, we'll have our announcements that I have here somewhere. Find them. Our computers are off today, so this is not good.
Mr. Moss, may I make one while you're...
Yes, you may.
Okay, I'd like to welcome Chief Enoch back from his surgeries. It's so good to see you back in the audience.
Okay, our announcements in point 5 type. We have our board millage rate public hearings. The first one will be June 17th. They're at 11 a.m. here at Whitney. Our second hearing is also Wednesday, June 17th at 6 p.m. here at Whitney. Juneteenth holiday, all district facilities will be closed on Friday, June 19th. Our board millage rate public hearing number 3 will be at 6 p.m. on June 24th. And our special board meeting for adoption of the millage rate will be Wednesday, June 24th at 6:30 p.m. Our audit committee meeting is Thursday, June 25th here at Whitney at 8 a.m. Our district summer schedule, the district continues to seek methods for maximizing building efficiency and fiscal responsibility, blah, blah, blah. Starting Monday, June 1st through Friday, July 10th, all district locations will operate on a 4-day work week. All district facilities will be closed on Friday during this time period, excluding July 4th. July 4th, holiday week, the district will be closed July 1st through the 3rd in observance of the July 4th holiday. Our July board meeting will be on July 8th. That's all of our announcements. Remembrances. We don't have any. Perfect. So we have 2 remembrances. I'm sorry, 3. Vanessa Harris from Windsor Forest Elementary, date of passing 5/11/2026. Aisha Gamble, bus driver, date of passing 5/18/2026. Dana Burnham, student information specialist at Bloomingdale K-8, date of passing 5/13/2026. If we all could please stand for a moment of silence. Now we will have our superintendent report.
Awesome. I am elated to begin my report by announcing our May Student of the Month. The Superintendent's Student of the Month for May is a ninth grader at Groves High School who is recognized for his courage and quick thinking during a medical emergency at the school. This scholar demonstrated an exceptional level of maturity, leadership, and composure during this incident, and we believe it is worthy of our recognition today. His nominator, Nurse Christina Wally, wrote, "I have had the opportunity to observe his character firsthand, and he recently demonstrated it during a critical situation on campus. When a student experienced a medical emergency, our scholar immediately sprang into action. Without hesitation, he went directly to the student, checked for responsiveness and breathing, and quickly called for an adult. He remained with the student until help arrived, ensuring that that student was not left alone, and then he took the initiative to run to the clinic to alert the nursing staff. In a moment in which many students would have panicked or stepped back, he showed remarkable courage, fast action, and a genuine concern for the well-being of others. His actions reflect not only strong instincts, but a sense of responsibility and compassion that goes well beyond his years. His ability to remain calm under pressure and respond appropriately in an emergency is truly commendable. He exemplifies the qualities we hope to see in all of our students, those qualities such as leadership, empathy, and a willingness to act when others are in need. His actions have made a valuable and meaningful impact on our school community. Please join me in congratulating Xavier Jones, the Superintendent Student of the Month for May. Xavier. Xavier will be taking home several gifts from our sponsors, including Members First Credit Union, Advertising Specialties, Savannah Technical College, Georgia Southern University, Gulfstream, and Savannah Schools Federal Credit Union. In addition, Xavier and his English Language Arts class will receive copies of his favorite book, Bud Not Buddy, by Christopher Paul Curtis, donated by our sponsor, E. Shaver Booksellers. Again, congratulations to Xavier and his family. If they are here, we would love for them please to stand. His extended family at Groves High School. So any representatives from Groves High School? To Nurse Christina Wally and her school principal, Dr. Monique Hazard Robinson, for their nomination and support of this remarkable student. That's great. I would like to continue the applause in the room with more good news. Congratulations to the class of 2026. Fantastic time celebrating our graduates last month. Over 2,200 scholars walked across the stage, shook my hand, turned their tassels, and stood proudly and eager to embark on their next chapter. Thank you to everyone who worked so hard. Grad week went exceptionally smooth. Our graduates have earned over $36 million in scholarships, have been accepted to some of the most prestigious universities in the country, and have contributed more than 60,000 hours in community service. In addition, we are sending scholars to every branch of the armed forces to serve their country. We invite all to relive the memories of our scholars with our graduate salute from the Savannah Morning News that printed in the past Sunday newspaper and can be accessed online at sccpss.com, where you can watch the ceremonies and view all of the great photographs from Graduation Week 2026. I'd also like to extend kudos to the graduates of the Junior Police Academy. This year, over 60 students from our middle schools participated in the academy. Thanks to the Board of Public Education Police Department for leading this initiative in partnership with the Office of College and Career Readiness and local businesses. These cadets completed all requirements of the training program, proving that they are ready for leadership and high achievement. We also thanked over 100 retirees at the annual retirement reception this past month. Thank you to the awesome Talent and Human Resources Service team who worked to give these employees a well-deserved send-off. Congratulations to those who are retiring, and thank you for your service to the district and to our students. And now, let's hear it for the Savannah Arts Academy boys soccer team. A big win with their first ever state championship, defeating number 1 seed Columbus and defending state champions Drew Chatter on the road to the finals against Pierce County. The Panthers won 13 of their 14 games and finished the season at 17-6. And please keep those cheers coming, because we have to recognize the Islands High School soccer team, who delivered the first ever state championship in soccer. The Sharks shut out East Duluth High School, scoring 6 goals on the night to bring home this historic win, and they finished the season with an amazing 22-2 record. Way to go, Sharks. This time, I would love to ask all of these amazing athletes and their coaches that are here with us today from Savannah Arts and Islands High School to come forward and shake hands with the board.
Congratulations. Great job. Congrats. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Well done. Well done. Congrats. Congratulations.
Good job.
Congratulations.
Great job.
Absolutely. That's what you should. I need one more clip.
I'm accepting that I can Thank you so much.
Coach Bell, thanks for being here. Thank you for being here.
You gotta have somebody from Arts here. Yeah, thank you.
And the athletic prowess of our scholars isn't limited to just the soccer field. We also dominate the track field as well. Hats off to Jenkins High School, Johnson High, New Hampstead High, Savannah Early College, Savannah Arts Academy, Windsor Forest, and Woodville Tompkins for medaling at the state tournament. Special recognition goes to state champions Francie Tedder at Savannah Arts Academy, girls 1,600-meter run, Class AA, the Savannah Arts Academy girls 4x800-meter relay team, Class AA, Blessed Diago, Jenkins High School, girls triple jump, Class AAA, the Jenkins High School boys 4x100-meter relay, Class AAA, We welcome all of the students who are here with us today, some of which may be working or on vacation, but many of the students are here today. And we welcome any of these athletes that are with us to welcome them to the front to also be acknowledged and celebrated by the Board of Education.
There you go.
I wore my pamper paws and my Spanish pink. Hugs them around. I get handshakes. Come on.
You can find all of these stories, much more good news to celebrate our school district, and much more on our website. So please go visit today. And at this time, I will hand the agenda over for our Superintendent's Professional Senate report for our meeting in May.
All right, thank you, Dr. Watts. Good afternoon, everyone. The Superintendent's Professional Senate meeting was held May 13, 2026 at Windsor Forest High School at approximately 4:15 and ended at 5:15. This meeting was hosted by Jennifer Hughes, your District Teacher of the Year, and myself. In this meeting, we were presenting a presentation from Ms. Rihanna Brown, who is the New Hampstead High School Dean of Students. She discussed her restorative practices and some of her initiatives dealing with student support. We also received final remarks from Superintendent Dr. Watts as she went over her ideas and expectations for next year. This was also our final meeting with the Senate meeting, which we all said our goodbyes and our expectations and ideas for next year. That would conclude your Superintendent's Professional Senate meeting.
Thank you. Mr. Hediger.
Thank you, sir. Continuing on today's agenda, we have a number of policy reviews and some action items for you in your Board of Education Matters section of today's agenda. Leading off, we do have a policy review. This is Board Policy ICC, which is Curriculum Research. This comes to the board under the standard 4-year review process. You'll see that primarily there were some title cleanups in this policy area where we have new title references. The key thing, however, was to clean up some outdated language to the Georgia standards right now. Of course, currently we're on the Georgia K-12 standards. Standards of excellence here in our state, and we needed to align that in our policy. So not so much any meaning changes to the language as written, mostly just clean up to align with current terminology. This is a first read. We'll come back for second read adoption in July.
Continue. Any questions, comments? Continue.
Hearing none, continuing on your agenda, item 6.02 is Board Policy IFCD, School Volunteers. This is a 4-year review. You'll note there are no policy changes here. The only changes are in the administrative regulation. And the primary thing that we did with the reg is also updated some current references to current titles within the school district. And we also eliminated the exhibit, which was part of this regulation, and turned it into the administrative regulation language. So it doesn't live as a separate document, now lives in the administrative regulation. Because there are only changes to the regulation here, we bring it to the board for the board's review. Subject to the board's feedback, we will consider this one complete under the 4-year review process.
Any comments?
Quick question. Do you know how many volunteers we currently have across the district?
Sure, I can give you a rough number and we'll get you an exact number, but we average in our volunteer portal between 3,000 to 4,000 registered volunteers. And those who are registered and who have been cleared through our background screening process, and they're available to volunteer at schools. Schools have the abilities to reach out to a whole host of volunteers and request their support. But that's roughly where we average in our numbers. We do track that as a strategic priority of ours to grow that as a evidence of quality engagement across the school district, and we've been pretty successful this year with growing that number.
Have we seen a huge drop from the pandemic?
So interesting you bring that up. Several years ago with the COVID years and the lack of having face-to-face and in-person engagement, we had to do a little bit of a reset when we came out of that pandemic era, to ensure folks felt comfortable again in our schools and that our schools felt comfortable welcoming individuals in. And I believe that we've gotten pretty strongly over the hump with that, as evidenced in the last 2 years where the numbers of those who are registered in the portal has grown. One thing that you'll note in today's adoption review of the strategic plan for the next 5 years, and that is coming up later in your agenda for adoption. One of the things that we're looking at closer in the work that we do tactically for supporting the strategic plan is to get more into the real how of things. So not so much looking at a number, but what is the quality engagement that individuals are doing with schools, and how does that contribute to the strategic priorities that we have?
Thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you.
Continuing on your agenda, we have another policy read for you. This is Board Policy BA. So this is a first reader. We'll come back for second read adoption in July. You'll see that this one lives in the Board Policy BA Goals and Objectives for item 6.03 on your agenda. And this particular one was chosen as a place to house the literacy policy for the district. Literacy policy was something that we had discussed a few months back during the Academic Excellence Committee. This is something that came at recommendation of one of our board members. Dr. Tanya Howard Hall had brought this forward several months ago, and we've been looking at it closely, discussed it in the Academic Excellence Committee, and then found an area of policy where we thought it fit best. So it landed under Board Policy BA Goals and Objectives. And what this does is it sets the tone to ensure that literacy is always a fundamental component of any work of the strategic priorities of the current administration and board and any future administrations and boards of public education here in Chatham County, placing literacy at the forefront as something that will always be embedded in our strategic work. So that's why it lives in Board Policy BA. We felt that that was a really good place to put that, especially when you get into forward thinking and years down the road. Now you might say, well, the board is also looking today at adopting a new 5-year strategic plan. We did consider that, and we'll note that when we come back, subject to what the board does today with the strategic plan, we'll have to look at changing the rest of this policy where the specific goals and objectives are currently listed to align it with the adopted strategic plan that presumably will happen today, and we'll do that on second reader when we come back in July.
Dr. Howard Hall.
Thank you. I'm very excited to see that this vision has come into fruition. I'd like to thank Dr. Watts and her team. I'd like to thank Mr. Hediger for actually spearheading this initiative, Mr. Butler, and Dr. Barnes, because we know that literacy, we often talk about literacy, but we usually don't break it down into the components that it entails. It's reading comprehension, writing, and clear communication, and that is the heartbeat of any strategic plan. And it's important to know that new superintendents come and go, school board members come and go, but one thing that will not ever go, and that's literacy. Regardless of how advanced technology become and AI, we know that literacy will always be around, and it's good to know that now we have a policy in place so that whenever the next superintendent comes in, that person would know how to implement it and that we require it as a board. So I thank everyone for allowing this to come into fruition, and I'm excited about it. Thank you.
Ms. Grabowski.
Thank you, Dr. Howard Hall, for your push in moving this forward. I agree. I think it's great to have it in policy, and I'll highlight to Ms. Hall that the last sentence includes prioritizing reading, writing, and communication. So we got that in there. Well done, team. And thank you, Mr. Hediger, for mentioning the strategic plan, as that was a question that I had about the timing of this. I know a lot of times on our second read, we put it in the consent agenda, but if we do envision updating it that robustly, I would just request that it not be in consent when it comes back next month.
Got it.
Who else? Continue.
Excellent. Of course, I'd like to recognize as well our Literacy Effectiveness Officer is here with us today, Sherry Goldman, who played a big role in helping us with some of this language too. So thank you for that work, and look forward to bringing that back to the board for a second reader. And again, subject to the work that we do today with the strategic plan, we'll make sure to set that in board matters in July. Moving on to your agenda, we do have another read for the Board of Education today. This is under the 4-year review. This is Board Policy BDD. This is under policy dissemination. Minor tweak in here. This one really is just to kind of get more into the current way of doing business. We really wanted to reference appropriately the board policy manual as opposed to previously written as a handbook, such as the days when we had printed copies of the board policy handbook in the board office. Today, we're most functional in our digital world and being able to have most recent and updated changes available for our public. So we did update that language to reference the board policy manual and direct people to our district website for updated information. This is a first reader. We'll come back in July for second read.
Continue.
Continuing on your agenda, item 6.05. This is board policy BDE. We do not have any recommended changes under board policy BDE. This is one that you hear us reference every single board meeting because this is the policy that drives the board's requirements for policy review. So board policy BDE is what sets that threshold for a 4-year review cadence, and it came up under the 4-year review cadence for review, and we have no changes recommended.
Thank you.
Next on your agenda, item 6.06. This is board policy BHB, nepotism. It's a pretty important part of policy for board functionality as it relates to family members of the board and how that is dealt with, whether they're serving on the board or in key functional positions across the district. You'll notice that when we went through this, the language in whole remained unchanged, but we did add a section here that was simply to state the requirements per state code under Title 20-258.1. And we've experienced this with the board, where if the board has a family member, immediate family member, who is being recommended for a position within the district, we all know procedurally that the board can't do that in the consent agenda. The law says you got to pull it out and do it as a standalone item, and of course the family member would have to leave the room for that vote. We've done that. We're pretty good at it, but I noticed that was not included in this particular policy section. So keeping us on our toes as far as the way the law is written, it has been added here, and that language is lifted pretty much word for word from your state code section. You'll note it also has the definitions of immediate family members, and that is also derived from the statutory language. This is a first read, comes back for a second read, adoption in July.
Dr. Howard Hall.
Should we include salary adjustment as well in this? Sometimes an employee may have a salary adjustment according to their level of degree. Mm-hmm. On here it just mentions the positions as promotions.
Yeah, we'll take that into consideration. The primary thing is the connection to the board member in their immediacy as far as exact family member, not so much as what is your pay or your step going to be or what your level would be. But we can look at that to see if there's a clarity component that would be needed on that. My mind is also going into, and I'm not immediately pulling it up by memory, but that where that could be referenced in another policy area, we may already have something like that covered as it relates to pay compensation for staff based on recommendations, and we could cross-reference it if it is. But we'll take that into consideration, and we'll take a look at that before we bring it back for second read.
And I asked because I have 2 children actually working in the district, and I had to walk away when we voted on salary increase due to degree level.
Gotcha. Yes, understood. Thank you for that clarity, and that does make sense. It basically, the board is taking an action, falls right into the line with an immediate family member. It's an employee action that has to be voted on. So thank you for that. We'll look at it with that eyeglass. Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else? Continue.
Finally, on your policy rundown for today's agenda, we have item 6.07, and this is also under the board section under Policy BH, Board Code of Ethics. This is a mid-period review that is coming to the board. Annually, of course, the board reviews its Code of Ethics policy. That language stays as written. You'll see that the primary change is in the social media area on board member social media use. This is coming as a direct recommendation from our legal counsel as it relates to board conduct on social media and how board members speaking as an individual, very clearly stating that there is no authority with that. We all fully understand that the board operates as a governing body and your decisions are made as a whole by vote. But the way board members conduct themselves on social media, based on legal counsel recommendation, it was wise to put that in there and just double stamp that there's no authority by an individual board member. And again, this is a first reader, would come back for board adoption in July.
Thank you.
That concludes the policy read section of today's agenda. We have a few action items coming up for the board's review. Item 7.01 is a charter school recommendation, which will be read from the podium based on today's recommendation after the review of the petition Nexus Academy Charter School.
Good afternoon. Nexus Academy Charter School has submitted a new startup charter school petition seeking authorization to establish a charter school projected to serve approximately 360 students over 5 years, beginning in the fall of 2027, if approved. In its first year of operation, the proposed school would serve students in kindergarten through 8th grade. Following a comprehensive review of the written petition, supporting documentation, and required capacity interview, the Savannah-Chatham County Public School System Charter Review Panel has determined that it is unable to recommend approval for the Nexus Academy Charter School petition at this time. As part of the 2026 petition review cycle, Savannah-Chatham County Public School System implemented a charter school petition evaluation rubric aligned to the applicable state law and State Board of Education rules to support transparent, consistent, and standards-aligned review process. Petitions were evaluated based on evidence presented through the written application, supporting materials, and a capacity interview process to determine whether the proposal demonstrated a clear, coherent, and executable plan for successful implementation. The review process included a petitioner question and answer session, a structured review process communicated to petitioners in advance, required capacity interviews, rubric-aligned evaluations across all review domains, and documented rationale supporting the review recommendations. While the petition demonstrated strengths in areas such as mission and overall vision, the proposal did not consistently meet the standards across all domains necessary to establish full confidence in implementation readiness. Concerns related to operational planning, services of special education populations, and overall educational capacity impacted the recommendation of the panel. The capacity interviews provided additional clarification and context. However, concerns remained in several key areas, particularly operational readiness and support for special education populations. Additionally, alignment and evidence of implementation of capacity would need to be established in order for the district to have confidence in the school's readiness to successfully open and operate. Areas of concern included, but were not limited to, evidence of the following: demonstrated organizational and leadership capacity, readiness for implementation and execution, financial and operational alignment, governance, structure, and oversight. Based on the totality of the evidence reviewed through the written petition, supporting documentation, and capacity interview process, the district is unable to support the Nexus Academy's charter school petition at this time. Thus, be it resolved, upon recommendation of the superintendent, that the Board of Education deny the Nexus Academy charter petition as submitted.
I'll take a motion. Been moved? Second. Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yeah, I'll just say that I'm glad we have objective protocols and standards and that we're applying them, and a lot of them are premised on state guidance and state law. So we're somewhat more constricted in how we may want to evaluate these applications, but having heightened standards early on, I think, is good for them long-term to be successful, and it's good for us to have objective standards.
Anyone else? There being no more discussion, all in favor? Thank you.
Next item on your agenda, another charter recommendation, item 7.02, charter petition recommendation, Harmony Oaks Charter School.
Harmony Oaks Charter School has submitted a new startup charter school petition seeking authorization to establish a charter school projected to serve 228 students in grades kindergarten through 8th grade during its first year of operation. Following a comprehensive review of the written petition, supporting documentation, and required capacity interview, the Savannah-Chatham County Public School System Charter Review Panel has determined that it is unable to recommend approval of the Harmony Oaks Charter School petition at this time. As part of the 2026 petition review cycle, Savannah-Chatham County Public School System implemented a charter school petition evaluation rubric aligned to applicable state law and state Board of Education rules to support a transparent, consistent, and standards-aligned review process. Petitions were evaluated based on evidence presented through the written applications, supporting materials, and a capacity interview process to determine whether the proposal demonstrated a clear, coherent, and executable plan for successful implementation. The review process included a petitioner question and answer session, a structured review process communicated to petitioners in advance, required capacity interview as part of the evaluation process, rubric-aligned evaluations across all review domains, documented rationale supporting review recommendations. While the proposal demonstrated a student-centered vision and developing structures in areas such as governance and student services, the petition did not consistently meet the standard across all evaluation domains necessary to establish full confidence in implementation readiness. The review panel identified concerns related to organizational capacity, operational readiness, governance structure, and financial and operational alignment necessary to successfully implement and sustain the proposed charter school model. Specific concerns included limited evidence of the following: demonstrated organizational leadership capacity, readiness and implementation execution, financial and operational alignment, governance structure, and oversight. Based on the totality of the evidence reviewed through the written petition, supporting documentation, and capacity interview process, the district is unable to support the Harmony Oaks Charter School petition at this time. Thus, be it resolved, upon recommendation of the superintendent, that the Board of Education deny the Harmony Oaks Charter School petition as submitted.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Yes, Ms. Grabowski.
I just have a question and agree, I think the structured review process is fantastic. Do they have to meet a certain threshold in the application before moving to that interview process? Because there's a lot of time invested by our team in reviewing these applications.
I'm going to invite our charter school liaison to speak to that, but before she does that, thinking about the comment, that Mr. Cashmore made. The team has done a lot of work to reimagine this process to be sure that it's state aligned, and Ms. Smith Barnes has led that work, and so we do feel very confident in our process, but she'll talk you through a little more and answer your question in specificity.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Taylor, and good afternoon. So there is not a threshold between that. However, I will find out if we have the flexibility as an authorizer to put something in place. I do understand what you're saying. So you have the letter of intent, and then between the letter of intent and the submission of the packet for the petition, there is nothing but like a Q&A session or a consultation by me. So let's check to find out if we can put something, maybe a pre-review, if it aligns with the state rubric. Thank you.
Anyone else? So, thank you so much for your review of these applications. I just want the public to know that we are a pro-charter school district, but we want to make sure that any charter school that we approve is going to be successful. That's why we go through this process. One thing, and I think we do this already, do we, for people who are thinking about starting a charter school, do we have like what's the word?
Information session.
Yeah, that word.
Not formally, but Ms. Smith Barnes can talk a little bit about some work that she's done. We don't have that established as a formal structure, but she has reached out to community members and talked to different groups who were interested, but it's not formally codified in our process.
And the reason I asked this is, as you went down that list of the reasons why we're not approving these two, if we could let people know up front, here are the things that you have to have, you know, before you even apply, have this. And that could save all of us a lot of time. But just letting the public know what we expect.
Absolutely. So the Georgia Charter School Association has several informational sessions. They're actually having one here in Savannah on, I believe, the 25th of June.
25th, yes.
And so those sessions will outline everything that the petitioner would need. One of the things that we implemented that was new this year, and now that I'm thinking about your questions and the process, was the Q&A session. Obviously, the petitioners had access to me for consultation, quick questions, but perhaps if we're considering sponsoring something on the district end, I would be more than happy to put that together.
I love that.
Okay.
I love that. Anyone else? Ms. Grabowski.
Well, I guess I'll just kind of respond to, I think it's up to Dr. Watts as the superintendent to determine the best use of our staff's time, but I would rather us invest in partnership and strengthening partnerships with our existing charter schools versus spending a lot of staff time trying to go out and recruit new charter schools. It's not a charter versus anything. It's really, let's focus on the relationships and building the relationships that we have. To me, that would be, I would prefer to see that use of our valuable staff time versus trying to go out and create new schools and additional processes, particularly when in the past, and I'm not saying this is the case here, but in the past, we have certainly seen charter school applications that are just checking a box because they want to go straight to the state, and that takes time away from our team. So I'll just share that as my thoughts.
Yep, thank you for that.
Dr. Howard Hall and then Ms. Campbell.
Just thinking as serving as Title I program manager before I retired, and I was the program manager for private schools, we had consultations with private schools that were in existence. We didn't have consultations for private schools that were thinking about becoming a private school. It was only for the ones that was already established as private schools, and we were required by the federal and the state to have those yearly consultations. So I agree with Ms. Grabowski that I don't think it's up to the superintendent, but once you become a charter school, consultation is fine, just as private school consultations, but not recruiting interest in a private school to provide consultation for them.
Noted, thank you.
Ms. Campbell?
Hey, to echo some of what Mr. Cashmore said, I like the process that we have now that really buttons up tight for us what the state recommends since the policy has changed. How are we doing on the other end of this dynamic where we're having them come before us? Do we know exactly with each charter school which metrics we're going to hold them to, et cetera, where it's much more rigorous and we can also hold them accountable on the back end?
So the state has provided an impeccable framework for that, for all things academics, operational, finance, and it's very clear. I am in the process of finalizing the revisions for the charter school reference guide that we have in the district. And so it will mirror the same processes, but there will be some refinements around how that looks moving forward for us. But the framework is very crystal clear from the state. All things from the state, we will align with it and carry it out from the district end.
Awesome. I think that's great. I think it removes some of the feelings about things
Right.
from us, and it's just rules-based, and this is how it is, and we just vote based on the metrics. So I love that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I just want to clarify something. When I asked about the information sessions, it was really to save our staff time. Because if I'm considering a charter school, as you know, anyone can apply. Well, anyone who applies, our staff has to sit there and read that application. If I know up front, I don't have all of the information to apply, I don't apply, that saves our staff time. This is not either we take care of our existing charter schools or we welcome new ones question. It's just a matter of, I just want all of the information out there so that I don't want it out in the public that we turn down these charter schools because we're anti-charter. We turn down these charter schools based on A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And I want the public to know what we require of anyone who wants to consider opening a charter school. So.
Yes. So that does exist. We do have, everything is already laid out for the petitioner prior to the submission. And I think this year, what made it a little different is that the framework is a little different from different from the state now. The evaluation tool was brand new, but we took it, we had time to digest it well and be able to implement it upon those two petitions coming through. So we'll continue to refine the process, tighten it up as much as we can do that.
Great conversations, thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay. There being no more discussion, all in favor? Yes. I'm sorry. No. Yes. All in favor of denial. Here we go. Okay.
Sounds good, sounds good.
Perfect. All right. Thank you.
Final item on your Board of Education matters will be read from the podium as well, and this is your Strategic Plan 2031 document, recommendation for the strategic plan to take us through 2031.
Hello. All right, here we go. The Savannah-Chatham County Public School System has developed a 5-year strategic plan that is being presented for board review and approval. The development process spanned 10 months and engaged students, families, staff, community members, and partners to help shape a shared vision for the future of the Savannah-Chatham County Public School System. The strategic plan establishes a clear direction for the district and reflects our commitment to creating a strong baseline experience for every student, every school, every day. This plan is designed to strengthen teaching and learning, cultivate safe, supportive, and joyful learning environments, expand meaningful opportunities
opportunities and future-ready experiences for students and ensure Savannah-Chatham County Public School System continues preparing young people for choice-filled lives and long-term success. The strategic plan supports the board vision and mission through a set of values that guide decisions, pillars that set aspirations, and priorities that define critical focus areas. The plan will be monitored for expected outcomes through clear measures of success with clear goals, progress indicators, and internal performance measures. The strategic plan specifies what the superintendent and district staff will focus on through strategies that create a course of action and tactics that create action steps for implementation of strategies. This work further supports the board's priority goals and performance objectives and will help guide the school board and superintendent to achieve its overall mission. This plan, as adopted, shall include the following values. Put students first. We prioritize students' needs when making decisions about time, talent, and resources. Honor every voice. We listen to and value the perspectives of students, families, staff, and community members to strengthen decisions and improve outcomes. Pursue excellence. We set high expectations for ourselves and our students and continuously improve to deliver better results. Act with integrity. We operate transparently, make principled decisions, and follow through on commitments. Own results. We take responsibility for outcomes, monitor progress, and adjust when we fall short. Through this plan, the board does now approve the recommended pillars and priorities enclosed and specifically names the following 4 pillars. Pillar 1, academic excellence for student success. Pillar 2, cultivating world-class talent to power the district's future. Pillar 3, elevating internal and external engagement and outreach. Pillar 4, operational excellence and accountability. This plan shall be implemented over a period of 5 phases beginning in school year 26-27. Due to unforeseen events or unknown future conditions that could preclude the implementation of certain aspects of the plan, the board and superintendent understand that periodic modifications may be required and, if needed, shall occur upon the recommendation of the superintendent and subsequent adoption by the school board. The development of the strategic plan 2031 engaged stakeholders, provided transparency, and offered multiple opportunities for stakeholder voice and shaped the refined final recommendation for the district's 5-year strategic plan. The resulting document serves as a blueprint for success that provides unlimited possibilities for every student. Thus, be it resolved upon recommendation of the superintendent that the board does now approve the 5-year strategic plan 2031 Unlimited Possibilities.
Been moved and seconded by Dr. Howard Hall. Any discussion? Ms. Hall?
Could you repeat that? No. Well done to the team. Congratulations on this achievement.
Anyone else? Anyone? Okay. Yes, Mr.
For
Grabowski.
anyone who might be watching or anyone who's here, we did have a great and robust presentation and discussion this morning at our informal meeting. And kudos again to the team. I'm not going to be mean to you like Ms. Hall. Well done.
All right. Yes, Dr. Howard Hall.
I agree with everything that's been said, and we do know that a robust strategic plan is accompanied with a robust budget. And in order to execute the 5-year strategic plan, we have to pretty much approve a budget to accommodate it. So just keep that in mind. Everybody's hands, go up on yes for the plan, but then the budget, so that's just me talking. So, in other words, for myself, I appreciate the strategic plan and understand what it's going to take to execute it, money-wise.
There being no other discussion, all in favor?
Thank you all.
And that concludes your Board of Education Matters segment. For the remainder of today's agenda, we have the consent agenda and other matters of the board. Mr. Board President.
I will accept a motion to accept our consent agenda. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? No. All in favor? Wow. Thank you. Okay. Let's. Okay. Come on. Come on, computer. Thank you. All right. Oh, financial. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Item 9.01, RFP 25-31, Substitute Employee Services Annual Contract First Renewal. On June 4, 2025, the board approved the award of RFP 25-31, Substitute Employee Services Annual Contract to ESS Southeast LLC of Knoxville, Tennessee. The initial award was for a one-year period with the option to renew for 2 additional one-year periods. Staff now recommends approval of the first one-year renewal with ESS Southeast LLC to continue providing substitute staffing support services for Savannah-Chatham County Public School System. During the current contract period, the district utilized approximately $9 million in substitute staffing services to support continuity of operations and instruction across schools and departments. During this school year, the district received a total of 80,732 substitute requests, with 69,337 of those requests successfully filled by substitutes. The district continues to experience a strong operational need for qualified substitute personnel in building-based positions, including instructional, clerical, custodial, and support roles to ensure schools and offices can maintain daily operations and student support services. Thus, be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the first renewal of RFP 25-31, Substitute Employee Services Annual Contract to ESS Southeast LLC for an additional one-year period at an estimated annual cost of $9 million.
It's been moved. I have a second. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Yes, Ms. Borowski.
Is that a normal, and maybe this is a Mr. Ray question, kind of ratio or percentage of requests being filled? Because that leaves about 15% of the requests that look like they were unfilled for substitutes. Is that, am I reading that right?
It is normal, but a lot of it, just because we have a request doesn't mean that, in other words, sometimes positions just don't get filled intentionally, even though a request may go in.
Mm-hmm.
So when we get to the 85, 90%, that's pretty good.
Okay.
So I think we're pretty good at that, 85 to 90%.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? There being no more discussion, all in favor? Thank you. Board financials.
All right, item 10.01, I will be reporting the financial statements as of April 30th, 2026. For these statements, 83% of the fiscal year and the school year have elapsed. First, we'll take a look at our general operating fund, which is Fund 100. Our local property taxes are currently at 68.8% of the budget, which is lower than last year at 71.7%. The total general fund actual revenues are 73% of the current modified budget, which is lower than last year at 76.02%. Fund 100 general fund expenditures, our actual expenditures for teachers are 95.6% of the current modified budget, which is higher than the expected 83% for this point in the school year. Other support services are at 82.6%, which is within the expected range of 80 to 83%. Total general fund actual expenditures are 84% of the current modified budget as compared to last year at 69.26%.
The other fund that we will look at is Fund 600, which is our school nutrition program. Fund 600 is currently showing a net loss of $1,923,352. For fiscal year '26, we have budgeted $4.9 million operating transfer from the general fund to the school nutrition fund. The entire operating transfer has been recorded. We anticipate additional losses in the months of May and June due to a decrease in the number of students that will be served. Revenues will decrease significantly while salary expenditures continue. We will have to continue to monitor this fund and will have to increase the operating transfer or use fund balance. At this point, there are no significant concerns on any other funds.
Any questions? All right, thank you. A quarterly eSPLOS update.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. All right. We'll get started here. Just providing the E5 schedule. So this is the exact same schedule you've seen in previous updates. Nothing changed, still on track. These are our revenues and expenditures. Again, everything's updated. All of our expenditures are staying within our budget line items, not exceeding any proceeds collected. Schools. All right, moving on to the project updates. Starting with J.G. Smith. Moving along nicely. You can kind of see in some of these photos, one of the beautiful parts about this particular project, it was the need for the pavers instead of asphalt in all of the drives. And those, as you can see in that left photo, that's going down now with curb and gutter, all of our site work coming along. So that project is certainly coming along. It was a very large undertaking to renovate a school like that. But I think it's going to turn out to be just absolutely beautiful and something to be proud of. That's just an aerial view. This is an older photo, but you can kind of see this is the cafeteria. So as we've talked in the past about J.G. Smith, this is the large addition. So it will be the final piece of the pie as far as schedule goes. So it is coming along, putting brick on, getting the big windows up and the sunshades. All right, Georgetown renovation is also coming along well. You can see some of the exterior completions with the landscape turf, as well as interior with some of the larger tile. We talk about sustainability with the low-flow toilets, as well as the LED lighting. The contractor is on track for to move the students in August. There will continue to be some construction taking place on site to include the gym as well as the CTAE classrooms. And you can see the construction on the gym to the left side, as well as some of the re-roofing in the middle of the picture. For Savannah High School baseball and softball fields, I know, Ms. Hall, you've been very interested in this one. We are still on track for that completion date in October. We have run into a challenge that we are overcoming with some additional requirements for stormwater, but again, we are on track for that October completion. For the Hubert renovations, the demo has already been completed in phase 1, which is that northernmost wing, the connections wing. I'll show you in the next slide. That connections wing is also the largest wing. So we plan on having that one complete by early fall. And that completion of phase 1 includes the FF&E.
Quick question on that one.
Yes, Ms. Borowski.
I know that the site is pretty tight and you've got the field in the back. Where are the modulars going on Hubert, for Hubert?
The modulars are going to go along the side of the bus ramp.
Facing Gwinnett?
Yes.
Can you go back to the last one? So between Grant and Gwinnett?
That is correct.
So is that after the modulars are gone, is that going to be like returned? What's the plan after the modulars are gone for that area?
Absolutely. The next time, either in the East Bluffs update or in the, actually, we'll send you a copy of the slide of what that entire
great.
landscape plan is going to look like once it's complete. They had a pretty nice rendering of that site.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
I think you'd be very happy with it.
Well, it's just,
Lots of green space?
Hubert is, you know, it's not as visible. I mean, it's in a neighborhood, but it's not as visible as some of our schools. And with the modulars being right there, it's going to be kind of like a weird visibility for the school. And then seeing what happens after that, I was just kind of curious, particularly because there's so much, you know, there's a lot of activity that's happening in that part of Savannah. But yeah, if you could send that, that'd be great.
It's going to be really beautiful coming off of Gwinnett. There is a lot of green space that we just haven't
Right.
really utilized before.
Right.
But will be able to be utilized in the future, whether it's outdoor classrooms, there's going to be a walking path in the front in addition to a new monument sign.
Okay.
And that's in addition to the outdoor classrooms in between the wings.
Okay, fantastic.
Ms. Hall?
Mr. Jones, will Hubert get one of the new monument signs that goes out front?
Yes,
Because
ma'am.
the one there now is,
Yes, so we've included that in the new construction design guidelines that for all of our renovation projects, it will include the monument signs as well.
okay. For schools that are not under renovation, is it possible for us to upgrade signs as needed? Because we have many across the district that are in very poor condition, and at least that monument sign would give the total picture an uplift.
Right, we've had a lot of requests for those monument signs. Right now, all of the ones that I can think of that need those upgrades are included in East Bluffs 5. So it might not be in the beginning of East Bluffs 5, but they are included in the ones that come to mind right now are Garrison and Coastal Middle School.
What about Johnson High School?
Johnson is also included.
Okay. Its sign was there when my husband was there in '69, okay?
Dr. Howard Hall?
For Hubert, what safety measures are in place for the modules? I can't remember if whether or not the campus is gated. I can't remember, I don't think so. So what type of security measures do we have for those modules? Because as I can recall, it's an open campus and people pretty much just walk across the campus during the day.
We haven't talked about implementing any additional security measures, but I'll make sure we get with campus police, and if they have some concerns, we'll make sure we bring that to you. We'll make sure that we address them.
So since I'm thinking about it, I was one of the first teachers at Georgetown, and I implemented a post office service, and we named all the streets, Lions Den, Boulevard, Cubs, Causeway, and I just didn't think to get one of those signs. And I looked, when I saw the pictures, I said, oh, no, all the street signs are gone, and I didn't think to get one. I know that Mr. Dr. Green have kept the marquees, yes. So I just thought about that.
Unfortunately, I don't know if we preserved any of those from the demo, but I'll get some construction paper and I'll make one for you.
Okay. Before
We have a great
before
Dr. Bringman installing the sign. So we can pass
before you guys continue, I wanted to ask if Chief Enoch had any insight into the Hubert situation.
Yes, we do. We are collaborating with them as we always do. On every site that we go out, we assess it. When it goes under renovation, we take a look at what it takes to maintain safety of the campus as we work along with contractors that are out there doing work. And then the final product, we collaborate on the final drawings. We have been talking about the modulars that's going out there and fencing in the event that we have to lock down the campus. So there's been some extensive conversation. As of even yesterday, I was in some conversation, a meeting yesterday, talking about security and security cameras and technology that we need to make sure is there, to make sure we have continuity across all of our campuses and a standard when we look at our layered security model to make sure that all of those layers are in place to help keep our campus safe.
Thank you.
And this is a fluid process. We are constantly assessing and adjusting to the needs as required. For Garden City Elementary, the design is in the final phase, the construction documents, and we expect for those to be completed by late this month or early July.
Yes, Dr. Howard.
Georgetown and Garden City pretty much have the same building. So will it be a similar renovation? I remember when we were at Georgetown, they consulted with us from Garden City to say what we have done differently, and we gave them advice such as where to locate the bus ramp. So I was just wondering whether or not it would be the same type renovation.
Very, very similar. There are some differences that our project manager has been working with the school staff and the principal to figure out kind of how Georgetown works and how they logistically work. I know one of the differences is Garden City is getting a big front, a brand new front of the building in order to help with drop off and pickup and make it just work a lot better than it has. But a similar kind of tear down demo and rebuild, very similar.
And with each of the schools, we try to provide at least one signature piece, so each one of those schools get their own identity. Again, next time we'll bring some of the larger renderings so you can see all of the hard work that those design professionals put into the front area of Garden City. It's really nice design. Last month, we completed the community sale for the furniture at the alternative site or the Innovation Academy. We also completed the abatement and received our clean air certificate. The demolition has already begun, and the contractor is currently on site. I did take back to the design professionals talking about, I believe both you, Mr. Grabowski, and Mr. Moss talked about those adding some green spaces. This is a very tight site, but I did talk to the design professional about potentially doing some community gardens. We have several community resources, organizations, nonprofits that work directly with the school district. We put in, I believe, about 20 community gardens over the past couple of years. And we're looking at potentially doing something like that here, as well as this area in front of the cafeteria. There's a deck, and looking at what we can do with that to create an outdoor learning area there on site.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Dr. Howard Hall.
I know it's an alternative learning center, and you're going to they're using the Mercer building, but since a school would be there, e-learning, how would you distinguish that is a school as opposed to separating the alternative learning programs?
So I'm glad
the
you
marquees,
right.
The look of it.
I'm glad you asked that question. So there are going to be different entrances for all three alternative programs that are located there, as well as for the school. So in the rear, there's going to be an entrance for Building Bridges High School, not the students just going into the back door. There will be an entrance where everyone will know this is the front of our school. It's going to be something that they can be proud of. The same thing for the entrance here in the front for Building Bridges Middle School. There's going to be another entrance right here for Wings Elementary School, and then over here on the side for Savannah-Chatham E-Learning Academy. So each program, as well as the school, will have their own identifiable entrance to the facility.
If I can add to that, we, in the early stages of design, we collaborated with the architect and the project manager to make sure we had some separation in levels of security and entry points. So we put a lot of great thought went into that whole layout and how to keep the campus safe. And there will be a building safety plan that will, when it opens, that will be in place to help maintain that.
Additionally, each one of these will have their own area. So they're going to have their own sensory rooms. They're going to have their own recreation rooms. They'll have their own security vestibules for their entrances, and their own front office areas, administrative areas for each program and for the school.
Yes, Ms. Hall.
So, Mr. Jones, you're saying that the aesthetics will be wonderful in each one of these buildings?
It will.
It's not going to be gorgeous and wonderful in front of one and then jail-bound in the others. I just want the public to know that.
Oh, my God.
Asking for a friend. So I'll tell you, Ms. Hall, this project is really close to my heart. I've had an opportunity to talk to different organizations, different schools throughout the country. And one of the things that I found is that there are a lot of facilities that look just like jails. One of the ones located here in Georgia, it had 4 sides to the entire school, and they had stations facing the wall without windows in each one of those facilities.
That's what I know. That's what I'm saying.
Based off of the guidance that we've received from the superintendent, based off of the guidance that we've received from our academic officers, this is not going to be that. We're not preparing our students to become prisoners. We're preparing them to learn and to grow and to help them get back to their home schools as soon as possible. And so this is going to be a special school. That's why we changed it from the Alternative Learning Center to the Innovation Academy. Our academics partners, which we've been working hand in hand with, they are bringing programs to this area so that we're providing those students with additional efforts. Like I talked about the sensory rooms, that's not something that you would find in a prison.
That's
This is
right.
something that caters to our students to help them create the tools that they need to succeed.
Okay, well, I know Dr. Watts is taking this very seriously, so I'm very hopeful and aspirational that all of this will come to pass to help our students. And I appreciate that. And just as I'm pressing that the physical amenities be there, I'm also pressing Mr. Butler and Dr. Barnes that our academic side is also conducive to innovation and getting our kids where they need to be. So don't think I'm just picking on the physical. I'm not.
Oh, no, I don't consider it picking at all. As a matter of fact, both, for the majority of the conversations that we had at the beginning of the design project, both of them were in every last one of those meetings. I always had at least one of them in a meeting, if not both. So they had lots of input in this project.
Dr. Howard Hall.
One last comment. It was probably been about 8 years ago or so. We actually went on a tour somewhere, I can't even remember where now, it's been so long, but prior to SELA, and we toured an e-learning academy.
It was Gwinnett County, I think, because I was on that same one.
Right, and
I
we
think it was
saw
Gwinnett
how
County.
the technology was just really nice, how they had everything laid out. I know that Mercer is an older building, so is it going to be a lot of work to try to put that piece up to par regarding technology? Because since those students are, most of them are at home, they did have labs available for them to actually go to school. So do you all, so it's going to be set up with labs for the students maybe once a week? Because at that particular school, once or twice a week, students will actually meet at the school to work in the labs. I'm not sure instructionally how that's going to work with our students, but that's the vision that we had initially when SELA was.
So I will tell you that the vision changed somewhat. We went through a couple of iterations of the schematic design. Initially, it was fashioned after the Gwinnett Online Campus, as well as the Chicago Intrinsic Schools up in Chicago. That design included a complete demolition of all 3 of the academic wings, and we were going to rebuild a 2-story facility, and that was going to house the Savannah-Chatham E-Learning Academy alone. It kind of changed, so now we're adding the alternative schools, building bridges, middle and high, and wings, but we're not taking anything away from this facility that we're putting in any of our other facilities. We're redoing the wiring in this facility. As a matter of fact, next week, they're going to be redoing the plumbing in the facility as well. So there's not anything that our other facilities are going to have that we will not have in this one. We have science wings, both chemistry and biology wings, biology classrooms, labs for all of the students. And in addition to the gym that they have, they're going to have additional learning spaces where they can go. We thought that the cost was going to come in much higher than it did. So I did recently talk to my boss about maybe adding some additional areas back in there, but they're going to have computer labs just like every other school that we have. Again, these are the students that actually need additional support. We're not taking anything away from them at all. We're ensuring that they have everything that they need to succeed in this facility.
All right, we'll move on to Gamble Road. So Reeves Young, our contractor, is working right now on their buyout phase of the project and getting teed up to begin site work here this summer. This again is a multi-phase project, so we have our fourth and fifth phase is actually the maintenance building itself, which is in design. It's more in that schematic design right now, going through a lot of discussions on how to make that building something special for our folks in maintenance. Overhead kind of layout, site layout of what this will be. Our biggest issue right now is the logistics of the buses as we build that big parking lot. And then the Islands Athletic Complex, Dabbs Williams is well underway. Right now, their goal is to have the home teams, new home team complete before football season. And so they'll finish this project out, have it closed out right around the fall, right mid-fall. All right, and Windsor Forest Elementary, right now we've completed our programming phase, moved into schematics, and we are working through that with the architect. We will have the CMR RFP due later on this month, and that committee for this project is raring to go. And then Pooler Elementary, of course, is boxed up and ready to move to Bloomingdale. I think their administrative staff has already taken up their new home inside of Bloomingdale. Our movers will be there, I think, tomorrow to start this move into Pooler or into Bloomingdale. And our architects are also kind of in that schematic design phase right now. They've completed the programming and what needs to be in this new pre-K program at Pooler Elementary. With the CMR for this project, the RFPs will be due at the end of this month. Charles Ellis, we are working with Pond Architect right now on that, more so on that programming side of the house. So there is obviously a lot of work to do at Charles Ellis, and we're trying to find out what the entire scope of this project needs to be, not what we want it to be, but what it needs to be.
So we have a few more items that we're completing at our Port Wentworth Auxiliary Administrative Annex, not Port Wentworth Elementary School. For our communication integration, that includes all of our audio enhancement. We're about 80% complete with that right now. This has been a labor of love, but we're almost at the finish line. We have been installing the safety badges at the schools, so if y'all don't have yours yet, it's going to include this safety device, so everyone will have the capability of alerting authorities if they see something. If you see something, say something. And now we're going to add push something. And we're push the button, and we're almost there. According to the House bill, which is named Ricky and Alyssa's Law, we have to have all of those complete by the end of the month, and we are definitely on track to complete those at that time, before that time.
Mr. Jones, can I just add something to that? I really want to thank you guys for the great collaboration and working with us. This is part of our layered security platform. One of the big breakthroughs was that we were able to take our SecureTech, our panic alarm button, interface it with the audio enhancement system, which we requested engineers to build this out. Now that those systems talk to each other, and is able to send a distress signal or message over the police radio. So that's something that was just hammered out, and that's very innovative, and that came through the work and the collaboration that we did with all of our vendors. And I want to thank Capital Projects for the work that they did. Nicole did a tremendous job in seeing that project through, along with Justin Pratt. So I'm very proud of that. That's something that we have that probably there's no other district that I know that has that type of innovation. So thank you.
Thank you for mentioning that, Chief. We call it the Communication Integration Project because it's just that. Just a few years ago, we had so many systems that operated in the school that were disjointed. If you looked up at the ceiling in a classroom, you would have had about 25 different devices, some of which did the exact same thing. But through this communication integration project, we were able to consolidate the use of a lot of those. We were able to talk to our partners and campus police and information technology, and now everyone, not just the communications, but all of the departments are talking, and now we have a lot more availability for our teachers, for our students, and for the staff. FF&E is ongoing. We had the two that were recently approved, Myers and Gottlieb Station, were approved a couple of months ago. Those are ongoing. Our playground projects, White Bluff, has already begun, and it should be complete soon.
All right. These are some of our smaller projects that are continuing through the summer. We have multiple roofs going in. Gold will be finishing with an inspection. Johnson is ongoing. It's an incredibly complicated roof, so that does take a little more time, but it's looking, the work on it is absolutely stupendous. We are getting into the Woodville-Tompkins roof right now with our design team, hopefully coming along, finishing up that job fairly soon. The HVAC projects that are ongoing are the Woodville-Tompkins and the Islands High School, which will both be ready for students in August. Windsor Forest, we're looking at coming to a close on that project. The final pieces of that project will be coming along this summer to include some additional fencing, the monumental sign, a lot of landscape work, just some items that were added to the project at the end to complete it. And then this is a slide. I'll let y'all read this rather than going through each piece. But as you can see, we have a busy few months ahead of us. I've mentioned a few of the RFPs coming out. So we have a few big projects, big RFPs that I think and recently we've had a lot of interest. So it's been great for us on the architectural side as well as the construction side. A lot of our contractors, architects, design professionals are very interested in our work, which is great for us. And we'll continue that. That will go on throughout the summer. You'll come August, I think our busy summer will result in your busy end of summer, beginning of fall for approving our projects. It's almost a duplicate of what we just read, but these are kind of just some of those larger projects that we've pulled out. Of course, with the West Chatham project, Husky Bells is moving along steadily, moving into the schematic design phase. 208 Bull Street, our architect RFP is their meeting actually right now, right this second on that. This is why Mr. Huttinger and Ms. Callahan could not be here. Our program manager is also in review, and the bid had closed on our Savannah Classical HVAC, and that's being reviewed. Yes, sir.
What's the estimated timeline on program manager review and proposal to the board?
I don't have that. I'm not in the cone. I don't want to.
So the selection committee is currently reviewing the submissions, and we do hope to bring that forth by the August board meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I didn't dare move on until I heard okay. All right. I think that's all we have. Any questions?
Dr. Howard Hall.
Could you just give us an update on the pools? Because I know they were supposed to start, it's summertime now, so I just kind of.
So I'll jump in on the pools as well. So
Let's dive on in.
yes, I'm gonna dive into that one. So the pools have been a great learning opportunity for us as we have done full assessments to figure out what we need to do to get them up and running. The Jenkins pool has passed the Department of Public Health inspection. The Haven pool has now passed the Department of Public Health inspection, and I'm waiting on an update on the Brock pool. So we did have some challenges to work through. For example, there was a pipe at Haven that kind of went to nowhere. And water was just going to nowhere. And it was going out into the city park, but we jumped in, we assessed it, we got it fixed. And so that was holding up our inspections. And so now we have passed those. We are working to get a meeting set up with the city because it is our request that they take on the piece of administration behind running the pools for the community. We have not yet solidified a date to get that meeting going, but we have highlighted the opportunity. And as we work to be better partners across all of our resources is what our intent is. So we can continue to elevate for our community these fabulous resources. And our goal is to have the community, including the city, help partner with us.
Anyone else?
When we look at the great presentation,
Smith?
great presentation. Thank you for your time and your attention. As you look at great presentation,
Smith?
great presentation. Thank you for your time and your attention. As you look at the next quarter of projects to be done, I think we talked about it before, but can you please repeat and reiterate what or how we decide what projects are being done in what order?
So we've been working hand in hand. Now we have a capital programs and maintenance department, CPM, as opposed to having the two separate. We've been working hand in hand with them as well as Nicole, who's been taking a look at all of our previous work orders with all of our facilities assessments and looking at which schools needed the most work, not only based off of the FCI, but also based off of the work orders that we've been getting in every day. We have a list of eSPLOST schools, eSPLOST projects that we have that have either already started or will be starting soon. We also have a list of maintenance projects, 308 projects that have either already started or will be starting soon. So we have almost a parallel process for where we're taking care of both eSPLOST and maintenance projects based off of work orders, based off of facility conditions assessments, as well as based off of our own walkthroughs. We're about to take on the role of all of the custodians in the district, reporting to capital programs and maintenance. Our custodial team with Tashana Williams-Batiste, Aaron Anthony, and Kennard, Kevin Kennard. They've already walked through all of our schools. We've had all of our project managers, which will be portfolio managers, walk through all of the schools, and we are compiling a list of all of the ones that we'll have to take care of soon. By close of business tomorrow, we should have a list of everything that we plan to complete over the summer.
Gotcha. So it's more of the bigger items will be done first, or is it more of the things that's been lingering the longest will be done first, or are there small items being done first to get them off the list, or it's just a mixture of everything? There's no particular arc. It's just going forward.
It's primarily based off of need. So right now we have a sewage issue over at New Hampstead K8 that has to be taken care of immediately.
Exactly.
We have eSPLOST projects that have been planned for 6-7 years. We're able to do both simultaneously right now because we have both organizations combined.
Understood. Thank you.
We do use a rubric that takes into consideration FCI score, how long a project's been waiting, so it's.
Gotcha, a mix.
So we have, all of our systems have life expectancies, and so when we prioritize our eSPLOST, when that was brought to you originally, as far as the schedule goes, and that schedule is what we're going off of, and that was based on virtually the building systems and how much life they had left. So that's how we are prioritizing our East Bluffs projects. That created our schedule. That is our schedule now. So we are tracking on our schedule.
Mr. Smith, it sounds like you had a specific question.
No, that was it. That was it. Thank you.
So we have?
Great.
I appreciate you.
You'll just ask me later.
I know, right?
I think we have some budget transfers. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. All right, next we have item 10.03, General Fund School Safety and Security Budget Transfer. Approval is requested to transfer funds from General Fund Maintenance and Operations of Plant Services account lines to General Fund School Safety and Security. This transfer is necessary to ensure accurate alignment with state code accounting and reporting requirements for school safety and security expenditures. Approval of this request will support accurate budget management and continue operational efficiency. Thus, be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the requested budget transfer to ensure accurate alignment with state code accounting and reporting requirements for school safety and security in the amount of $13,352,743.
Moved. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Okay. There being, go ahead, Ms. Campbell.
Can I just ask what these were for specifically? It's a lot of money from one count to another just to say it was for reporting requirements, accurate budget management. What happened that it wasn't budgeted for prior? Am I just misunderstanding?
This was included in the budget. You will notice that the object code changed. So the way we classify these employees changed from 519130 to 518300.
Gotcha. So this was still part of the original budget. It just had to
That is
move
correct.
accounts.
Yeah, awesome.
There being no more discussion, all in favor? Thank you. Continue.
Item 10.04, General Fund Communications Web-Based Subscriptions Budget Transfer. Approval is requested to transfer funds from General Fund Computer Software account to General Fund Communications Web-Based Subscriptions. This transfer is necessary to ensure accurate alignment with state code accounting and reporting requirements for the purchase of software. Approval of this request will support accurate budget management and continue operational efficiency. Thus be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the requested budget transfer to ensure accurate alignment with state code accounting and reporting requirements for communications web-based subscriptions in the amount of $2,866,337. And this is similar to the other item. You will notice that the object code is no longer 612, subscriptions are 5302.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Thank you. All in favor? Thank you.
Item 10.05, East Block 5, bid C26-10, Savannah Classical Academy HVAC replacement and budget transfer. The purchasing department received bids from 3 vendors in response to bid C26-10, Savannah Classical Academy HVAC replacement. Bids were received from Mosler LLC, doing business as Founders Maintenance and Restoration, located in Savannah, Georgia, Bowen Mechanical Contractor, Inc., also in Savannah, Georgia, and Mock Plumbing and Mechanical, Inc., Savannah, Georgia. The intent of the solicitation was to establish a contract for the HVAC replacement at Savannah Classical Academy as outlined in bid C26-10 and all related documents. Staff recommends the bid be awarded to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, which was determined to be Mosler LLC, doing business as Founders Maintenance and Restoration, at a total cost of $1,829,900. In support of this action, staff also requests the following budget transfer. The transfer is required to provide funds for the Savannah Classical Academy HVAC replacement project, which also includes additional funds for contingency. Thus, be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the award to Mosler LLC doing business as Founders Maintenance and Restoration for the Savannah Classical Academy HVAC replacement at a total cost of $1,829,900. And be it further resolved that the board approves the budget transfer from charter schools' multiple location accounts to the Savannah Classical Academy HVAC account in the amount of $2,200,000, which also includes funds for contingency monies.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Mr. Catchmark.
If the contingency doesn't get spent, it comes back to that charter school general multiple location budget line item?
Is that correct? If contingency is not spent? Does it come into this
It goes
project?
on to that line item.
Yes,
Yeah.
so it would go back into the contingency line item. So it would, if the full amount is not spent of the $2.2 million, then those funds would not be allocated for Savannah Classical. They would go back into the East Blost funding.
But back into the charter school multiple location
To the
line
charter
item.
school multiple
Okay.
location line
Not
item.
just back into East Boston generally.
Not back into the unallocated or the other funding lines in East Boston.
Okay, Mr. Smith?
Thank you. Just a quick question. On this form, it says staff recommends the bid be awarded to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder. I guess my question or my concern is that a common practice? Do we always look for the lowest bidder? And the next part of that is, do we ever, or when we run into issues where change orders are coming up, how do we offset that when we're looking at the lowest responsive bidder? That's a term that I'm kind of concerned about.
I agree. I think we should get the best quality and not necessarily the lowest bidder. So I'll have to check on that language and why that specific language is used. I think that is maybe a frame of mind that's been used in the past to just go to the lowest bid, but the lowest bid does not always give us the best quality.
I'm not sure we do that. Lowest responsive and responsible means there are 10 bids, maybe the two lowest weren't deemed to be responsive and responsible, so we didn't go with the absolute lowest
Oh,
bid. They have to
okay.
meet other criteria as well. Somebody can correct me? Yeah, okay. So
Okay.
it's not always just the lowest bid wins. It's lowest, but you meet our 7 other criteria.
Gotcha, I agree.
Yeah.
I understand that. So I guess my question still is the lowest that meets our standards. That's the correct statement?
That is a correct statement. Yeah, that meets so when you put out your bid, you list some criteria to say, this is, you have to meet these items. And then, in general, if everybody meets the items, then you go with the lowest bid. We do have an opportunity to go back to procurement and say, this is an outlier, right? So if you have somebody who does a bid for $1 million and everybody else does a bid for $3 million, then that would lead to ask additional questions, and you may anticipate change orders in the future. In that case, in general, procurement works with us and determines what are the next best steps with the legal guidance. Sometimes you would just cancel that bid and go back out because maybe the individual submitting the bid didn't have all the information that they thought they did. You know, there's all kinds of reasons why that would happen. But if there is an unusual outlier, that's when we would go back. Unfortunately, there are times that someone may be the lowest bidder, say you're just 2 or 3% lower, then they get into the project and there are circumstances that nobody would know. And I'm giving an example of the Johnson roof, right? So when we've gotten into that project, there are pieces that anybody who did a bid on that would have no idea the condition that was under all the underlying pieces. So we worked very hard to avoid change orders, but sometimes they are unavoidable.
Of course, of course. Just out of curiosity, would you be able to just give me a percentage off the top of your head on how often we go with a lower bid, but after change orders, it goes to or exceeds other bidders that we knocked out?
That's a very good question. I'm going to lean on our procurement partners to help us do that analysis, but I'm sure we can do that and get that over to you, Reverend Smith.
Good thought. Thank you.
Mr. Ketchmark?
Yeah, just one point on that. You can go back and look at our quarterly change order reports. Most of the change order reports are owner request. So when we pull that data, let's differentiate between what we ask to add and what they ask. Yeah.
Right, anyone else? All right. All in favor? Thank you very much. And I did receive an email from Savannah Classical thanking us for this. So,
Item 10.06, East Block 4 Johnson High School roof replacement, Roofing Technology Partners, LLC, change order number 2 and budget transfer. On October 1st, 2025, the board approved the bid C26-2 Johnson High School roof replacement to Roof Technology Partners, LLC, in the amount of $4,430,835. Change order number 1 increased the contract to $5,200,652. Now that the old roof has been completely removed, there are repairs to existing conditions that will need to be made before the new one can be installed. The existing EIFS is cracked and needs repairs. Through wall flashing needs to be raised to accommodate the new roof installation height, including structural decking and expansion joint metal installation. And new metal wall panels will be installed where the through wall flashing cannot be raised due to existing roof slopes. The added cost for this work is $839,347. To support this action, the following budget transfer is required from East Block 4 Roofing Unallocated. Staff have reviewed the change order and budget transfer request and recommend board approval, and the superintendent supports this recommendation. Thus be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve change order number 2 to Roof Technology Partners, LLC, in the amount of $839,347 for the repairs to the existing roof conditions as stated above for bid C26-2 Johnson High School roof replacement project. And be it further resolved that the board approve the budget transfer from the East Block 4 roofing unallocated account to Johnson High School roofing account as described above.
moved and seconded. I'm sorry, any discussion? Ms. Hall?
Please tell me what EIFS is, so when I get phone calls, I'll.
Okay. It stands for exterior installation and finished system.
Exterior
Installation.
installation. Okay.
Like stucco.
Like you see on the side of the building that looks like stucco.
Oh, got it.
It's a material that's used.
Okay.
Anyone else? Okay, there being no more discussion, all in favor? All in favor? Great, wonderful.
Item 10.07, Project M26885, Georgia School Boards Association Risk Management Fund Annual Contract. The purpose of the Georgia School Board Association Risk Management Fund, GSBA RMS, is to administer property and liability coverage, lower administrative costs, and reduce claims through active programs for loss prevention and loss control. The GSBA RMS proposal is all-conclusive of insured property for the Savannah-Chatham County Public School District for a period of 1 year, July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2027, for an estimated cost of $5,197,615. The cost of coverage is increasing by 4.1% from the current fiscal year. Staff recommend that the board does now approve the contract with the Georgia School Board Association Risk Management Services for the fiscal year 2026-2027. Thus, be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve contract M26885 with Georgia School Boards Association Risk Management Services for the period of July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2027 at an estimated annual cost of $5,197,615.
Been moved and seconded. Mr. Cashman had a question.
First, I'm assuming it's all inclusive, not conclusive, just making sure all our properties included. Second, the cost of coverage is increasing by 4.1%. Is that statewide, or is that based on our specific experience rating?
So the cost is increasing. I can't tell you what the statewide is, but it's because we went back and did an assessment and we found a need to make adjustments to what was listed on the assets that were insured. So adding buildings that maybe historically were not on there or increasing the value of the building.
That's a little concerning. We had property that wasn't insured and we didn't know?
There is always a reason to do a good review.
Gotcha. Is any of the rate assessment based on our experience, like our claims, our costs, or is it a statewide formula?
I believe it's a formula, so it's based on the type of building that it's been defined as, either a historical building and what that would be, or a replacement value. In our area, I do believe we are charged at a higher rate because of the hurricanes and
Right.
the other storms that may be challenging, but I'm not aware of an increase in our costs due to any, like, too many claims or anything of that nature.
Just separately, whoever owns this piece of information, I'd like to see information from them on how our rates are calculated, if possible. Thank you.
Ms. Hall?
With the fact that we're no longer inhabiting 208 Bull Street, Ms. Davidson, would that, we still have to insure the property, but without any people in it? Does that make a big difference?
That actually doesn't lower our cost, but when we start doing upgrades to 208, in which we bring it up to current code standards for life safety, then that could lower our cost. Right now, the building is on a very old historical cost, so in the future, once we do some restoration and renovation, we will increase our costs potentially over the next 5 years as we slowly invest additional funds into it. So I am hopeful that the investments that we make in life safety will reduce the cost, but overall, I anticipate that cost for that building will go up when we increase the insured value.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, all in favor?
Item 10.08, RFP 24-7, Technology Products, Hardware, and Software, Annual Contract, Second Renewal. On March 6, 2024, the board approved the award of RFP 2407, Technology Products, Hardware, and Software Annual Contract to the firms of Ari Jones Educational Solutions and CDW Government, LLC, to provide desktop computers, laptops, Chromebooks, printers, monitors, scanners, and related products district-wide. The initial performance period was for 1 year with 4 one-year renewal options. The first renewal of RFP 24/7 Technology Products, Hardware, and Software Annual Contract was approved by the board for Ari Jones and CDW Government on March 5th, 2025. Staff recommends exercising the second renewal option of RFP 2407 Technology Products, Hardware, and Software Annual Contract to the firms of Ari Jones Educational Solutions and CDW Government, LLC, for an estimated annual amount of $7 million. Thus be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the second renewal of RFP 2407 Technology Products, Hardware, and Software Annual Contract to R.E. Jones Educational Solutions and CDW Government, LLC, for a one-year period with 2 additional one-year renewals remaining for the estimated annual amount up to $7 million.
Moved in second. Discussion. Okay. All in favor?
All right. Item 10.09, bid 26-06 School Nutrition, Food Products, and Distribution Services Annual Contract First Renewal. On November 5th, 2025, the board approved the award of bid 26-06 School Nutrition, Food Products, and Distribution Services Annual Contract to Williams Institutional Foods for an initial 6-month period at an estimated cost of $5,167,565.78, with the option to renew for 3 additional 12-month periods at an estimated annual cost of $10,335,131.55. Staff does now recommend exercising the first option to renew this contract with Williams Institutional Foods with an estimated expense of $10,335,131. The first renewal period will begin on July 1st, 2026, and will end on June 30th, 2027. Thus be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the renewal of bid 26-6 School Nutrition, Food Products, and Distribution Services to Williams Institutional Foods for an additional 12-month period with an estimated cost of $10,335,131.
Moved and seconded. Questions?
Was this the lowest regional bid?
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Yes.
Dr. Howard Hall?
Is it local, or I don't see the location of the,
It is, I believe it is local. I will go back and confirm because it's a renewal. We would have pulled that before, but I believe they are a local vendor for the food products and distribution. I cannot confirm the what chefs want, but I will pull that for you, Dr. Howard Hall, and get that to you.
thank you.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Item 10.10, bid 23-56, Fresh Produce for School Nutrition Annual Contract Extension. On August 9, 2023, the board approved the award of bid 23-56, Fresh Produce for School Nutrition Annual Contract to Creation Gardens, Inc., doing business as What Chefs Want, for an estimated annual cost of $585,110. At the end of the renewal options, a new solicitation was issued under bid 26-34, Fresh Produce for School Nutrition Annual Contract. On April 23, 2026, the solicitation for bid 26-34 closed with the result of 0 submissions. Staff does now recommend extending the current contract with What Chefs Want for an additional 1-year period pending the issuance of a new solicitation and contract award. The estimated cost for an additional 1-year period is $901,000. Thus be it resolved upon the recommendation of the superintendent that the board approve the contract extension under bid 26-56, Fresh Produce for School Nutrition Annual Contract to Creation Gardens, Inc., doing business as What Chefs Want for a 1-year period with a total estimated cost of $901,000.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? Ms. Hall?
Ms. Davidson, we're saying we didn't get any new companies to bid on it, so we want to stay with who we have?
Yes, ma'am.
And are we satisfied with who we have?
Yes, ma'am.
And is it local? Fresh produce, I'm sure it's local, right?
So I will confirm if what chefs want is local. I don't want to misspeak. Let me confirm if they are, but the produce that we bring in, we do have an intent to do local produce. Some of our produce comes from all over the country and even outside of the country because some items are not grown in our area. But we do have a preference for local produce where possible.
Well, that's good. Okay, thank you.
They have a host of locations, Ms. Hall, all across the country, and they do happen to have a location on Highway 80 here in Savannah.
Okay. So I'm always concerned when I see that no one has bid, especially something like fresh produce, considering how many farms we have in this area. I don't know if it's a matter of us not being proactive on solicitation. And I would encourage us to look at that because, you know, and this is something we're going to talk about a lot this year, is really something like this, we need to look very closely locally. Yes, Ms. Hall.
That it's our intention, it's our established intention to do just that. I'm assuming, Ms. Davidson, that's what you're saying, that we intentionally look for local before we go elsewhere.
I cannot confirm this particular bid. I can go back and look at it, but I do have an intention that when we do our bids, we utilize local vendors where possible, because that helps us reduce our costs and it also helps us support our community. But I can't confirm that it was written into this particular bid. I do understand the desire to have additional vendors participate in our bidding process. I'll also work with Mr. Formey to see if there is a better way to share the information with our community partners and others. Maybe they were not aware that we were doing a bid, and so.
That's what I was going to.
Do you think it's part of our culture, so it's not just at the top that we're saying this and you're saying? Does that flow through the departments that are responsible for creating these, that they know that that's our intention?
I can tell you from my team, they know that is our intention, and especially with produce and other foods because of the ability to get it quickly and our vendors to adjust quickly. So that is always our intention. I can confirm my staff down to the entry level should be aware of that, but there's always an opportunity to highlight it and to continue to highlight it so that we don't get caught up in the whirlwind.
Right, and we want to be reasonable. If we don't grow tangerines here, then of course we have to get them from somewhere else. But to the extent that we're able to support our local economy, it just makes sense.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Katchmar?
We may also want to look at past bidders and ask, why didn't you bid this time? This may be a blip. I mean, I have a lot of clients in food production, delivery, distribution, and restaurant owners. Food costs are all over the place because of tariffs, because of immigration issues, because of natural disasters. So people are also cutting back on bidding on these types of things because they don't know if they can make a profit. And a long-term massive commitment to us is a bigger risk. So this may be a blip. It may be something we're doing, but we should ask why people didn't bid as well.
Understood. Yes, sir.
Anyone else? All in favor?
Item 10.11, tentative adoption of the fiscal year 2027 budget for all funds. In accordance with law and policy, staff presents the tentative fiscal year 2027 budget for all funds. This budget consists of 5 components: the general fund budget, general obligation debt budget, special revenue funds budget, capital projects funds budget, and other funds budget. The tentative budget under consideration reflects no mill increase or decrease for a total combined millage rate of 17.331 mills. The tentative fiscal year 2027 general fund budgeted expenditures and other uses total $696,824,541. This budget will receive $484,063,703 in revenues from local revenue, $210,480,263 in state revenues, $800,000 in federal revenues. The estimated ad valorem tax millage rate for calendar year 2026 is 17.331. The ad valorem tax revenues were calculated using an estimated adjusted net M&O digest of $23,990,502,259 for calendar year 2026. The tentative fiscal year 2027 general obligation debt budgeted expenditures total $270,000. Note, this amount is duplicated below in the debt service fund budget in the other fund section. The estimated ad valorem tax millage rate for calendar year 2026 is 0. The ad valorem tax revenues were calculated using an estimated net bond digest of $26,312,903,292. The tentative fiscal year 2027 special revenue funds budgeted expenditures and other uses total $99,718,304. The detail is in your packets as noted. The tentative fiscal year 2027 other funds budgeted expenditures total $3,644,083. For capital projects funds, the tentative fiscal year 2027 capital projects funds budget expenditures total $181,334,491. This budget is based upon estimated costs to be incurred between July 1st, 2026 and June 30th, 2027 for approved projects. Thus be it resolved upon recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Education tentatively adopt the following budgets. Fiscal year 2027 general fund budget for $696,824,541. Fiscal year 2027 general obligation debt budget for $0. This amount is duplicated in other funds below. Fiscal year 2027 special revenue funds budget for $99,718,304. Fiscal year 2027 other funds budget for $3,644,083. And this includes the general obligation debt amount noted above, referenced above. Fiscal year 2027 capital projects fund budget for $181,334,491.
Been moved? It's been moved and seconded. Discussion. Mr. Katchmar.
So we had a budget discussion during informal, and basically the summary of that was we're still finalizing what our anticipated expenditures are because we're trying to finalize exact estimations or numbers on grants that might be expiring, et cetera. So we don't have finality on what our proposed expenditures are. And we don't know what our revenues are because of changes in state law. The tax assessor's office is still trying to apply those changes to our updated calculations. And we don't know when we're going to get those calculations. Is that a fair summary so far?
It is.
Okay, so my question is, like, why am I voting on something that we don't have numbers on? Now, the flip side is this. State law apparently says we have to pass a budget by June 30th. But if the tax assessor's office doesn't give us our anticipated revenue by then, we could immediately be voting on budget cuts in July or August after we get those numbers. So do we have options to maybe adopt a spending resolution on a month-to-month basis instead of a budget until we get our actual expenditures and revenues? And I'm just asking questions. I don't know, but it makes me nervous to vote on something when we don't know our revenue and we don't know our expenditures, period. And then I started thinking, if we don't have a budget and we don't set a mill rate, what is the county's process for, finalizing the digest and sending out property tax notices? Because that could delay collections, which would mean we'd have to start talking about a TAN or something like that if it plays out. So I don't know what the process is. I don't know what the ramifications are. But I'd like to at least discuss it, since I'm really nervous about voting on something where we don't know the numbers are accurate.
I asked Mr. Hediger the same question yesterday while we were voting on a tentative budget. Mr. Hediger, I don't know if you want to lean into the response that you gave me, but to me, there's just so many variables. It's sort of a moving target.
There is a statutory requirement that a tentative budget is adopted a certain amount of days in advance of a final budget adoption. And part of that is a requirement to ensure public awareness of what the board intends to do for its final budget. Now, again, that sets the floor for the budget, which can change when you come back to your final adoption. The question that we don't know is, we have some commentary from the chief appraiser that suggests that it could be longer than a few weeks, possibly even the beginning of July, but that was not committed to. They also indicated that they are working feverishly to get this finalized so they can have the tax digest, which presumably, if that happens and we get the tax digest number next week, the board could consider modifying its existing millage rate hearings to a later date in the month and still get the final budget adopted. Now, the tricky part of that is we've got to, A, make sure the board would have a quorum. B, we've got to make sure that we get our advertising in the newspaper as required by law to advertise the hearings a week in advance. We can still do that if we get the tax digest as late as I estimated by Thursday, so we can get ads in the paper and consider new dates for the millage hearings. So if the board does not tentatively adopt this budget and that happens, then you're outside of that window of the required time to have a tentative adoption of a budget before your final adoption. So today would pave that way for that potential scenario. To complicate things, however, the second action that the board is doing today is the millage rate as its standalone item, which, in conferring with the board attorney, that one is questionable in the fact that there is a estimated increase of what would be considered an increase over and above on a calculated rollback rate, which we do not have at this time. So adopting that in the next item on this agenda would be considerable for the board to delete that from this agenda. The tentative budget adoption, however, is something, again, based on time constraints on an if scenario that if we do get a tax digest, then we could presumably delay the millage rate hearings and then have a final adoption. We're operating in unknowns. The other avenue for the board is to consider that if we do get a tax digest next week, we look at how soon we could call a special called meeting to get a tentative adoption, which could then, and we'll check the statutory requirements I think it's 30 days between tentative to final. But again, if that tentative adoption is delayed and we do get the tax digest, then we're behind on that process and would ultimately push likely the final adoption into July.
Ms. Hall.
It's constantly drilled into us that we have two responsibilities: hiring the superintendent and producing that budget at the end of the month. We have done our due diligence. It is not our it's not our fault that all of these other pieces have not been put in place. So, Mr. Hediger, well, Dr. Watts, is it your feeling that we need to adopt this tentative budget now so that we continue to show our due diligence in reaching the outcome we need by June 30th, as opposed to coming up with, you know, other A, B, C, D, and E
Sure.
paths?
So as I interpreted and internalized Mr. Hediger's guidance yesterday, the word tentative is really what was important for me to focus on. It's a tentative budget. It's not the actual budget. And in a best-case scenario, if we did get the information that we needed, we would need to have a tentative budget passed at that point. So this just positions us, should a best-case scenario come up, that we would be able to move. If we don't pass a tentative budget, then we're going to be missing a step. And should we get the information that we need, we will have to pivot back, pass it, then the whole process starts. So for me, it's just go ahead and consider the tentative budget now, because it is just that, tentative. And it can change based on new information received.
Mr. Kachmar.
I think we moved at least one of our hearings last year because of delays as well.
That's correct, we did. Yeah.
So this is 2 years in a row. Is it a state rule issue that's pushing everything so close? Is it a local operational issue? Let's figure out why and see if we can do something about it, number one. Number two, my understanding in the past is when we voted on a tentative budget and a tentative millage rate, that set the ceiling, not the floor. Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Just making sure.
I said that backwards.
Okay.
Yes, especially with the millage rate. So, yeah, the millage rate, a tentative millage rate adopted, if it was presumably in a normal cadence of how we operate it, you want to, whatever the number is, we'll say 17.331, for example. When the board comes back for final adoption, you couldn't go higher than that. You couldn't recommend 18, but you could recommend 17. So you're right, it sets the ceiling and you can go back.
So here's the problem. We vote on a budget today, and then the digest comes back and our revenue goes down 19%. And then to meet budget, the millage rate has to be 19.5. We're stuck because we can't do it. I'm not saying I want to vote to raise the millage rate. I don't want to put us in a box with minimal information. So if we adopt this budget, can we can't add to that budget. Like say it comes back, hey, you know, what a surprise, revenues actually went up 37%. Probably not going to happen, but we can't go up on the budget, but we can go down, correct?
We can go up on the budget, we can't go up on the millage rate.
Yeah, and I'd like to see the law, like why can we go up and down on the budget but not on the millage rate once we adopt a tentative?
Down on the millage rate, we just can't go up on
Yeah,
the
Right.
but anyway, my point is, if there's a 20% loss in revenue and that's a $100 million hit on the budget, we're stuck at 17.3, which I'm okay with, I guess.
Hang on. Ms. Hall.
Yeah, I was going to say, with the budget is tentative.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if we're anticipating our revenue is 690 million, whatever that number is,
696.
697, but it's actually going to be 510. I mean, we'll amend the budget, but we have no, that's our only option. It's cutting 100, whatever the,
Couldn't generate more revenue.
we can't generate revenue because we've capped ourselves on the millage rate.
Please.
Simplistically stated, the board has two obligations under this circumstance. The first is to adopt a budget, which it has to do. It can adopt a budget based on its expectations of income that it will receive from whatever sources it has. In essence, that's what this one would be doing. This is your latest estimate of the resources that you're going to get. It's a tentative budget subject to amendment. In fact, the final budget is subject to amendment, and we do it routinely. So that aspect is independent of the more important issue, which is what's the millage rate going to be? That's a separate decision. So if you adopted this budget and it turned out that instead of 692, 690, whatever the number is, instead of that number, it's 5 million less, 10 million less, whatever it is, you would then recategorize, do we want to amend the budget further to reduce our expenditures? Do we want to keep it as it is? You make that decision, you come up with the numbers, and you look at what the actual tax digest says you're expected to earn. You then decide what the millage rate's going to be. It might be 17, might be 18, whatever the number is. That's a fluctuating decision. It's not tied. You don't make that decision until you know what income you're going to get and you know what you're planning to spend. And then you get a balanced budget, which has to be the outcome. The reason that the digest is so important is that you can't calculate a rollback rate unless you know what the tax digest is. Right. So there are additional requirements for hearings, notice, and calculations, public ad for the millage rate that you simply cannot do. You could actually have the budget and pass the millage rate in July or August, but you'd have to operate in the interim, you see.
I guess
the other option is to do a spending resolution. That option is basically saying we're going to continue on the existing spending levels for a period of time until we can finalize the budget. That's another option that you have. But those are those are the moving pieces. The good thing is you're really not locked into anything at the moment.
Okay, but I thought we vote on a millage rate now, tentative millage of 17.331.
We do not recommend that you vote on any millage rate today.
Well, that's, okay, that's new because it's on our agenda.
That's why I'm talking about it now.
I thought we had to do a budget and a millage rate.
You don't have to do the millage rate simultaneously with the budget.
Correct. There are two separate actions on your agenda. And actually, Board Policy DC does hold timing requirements for the board in the process of budget adoption. And it does stipulate that a tentative adoption is adopted at least 2 weeks in advance of the board's final adoption, because there's also requirements for advertising to do information on a summary budget that we also have to put in the newspaper as well. So that ties to that. So per Mr. Holliday, there's separate actions on the agenda, and the recommendation is on the millage rate recommendation, the tentative millage rate, which stipulates a calculated rollback number based on a 3% increase, but we don't have that, and it would be recommended subject to the will of the board to pull that item from this agenda.
We pull it or table it? Does it matter? We'd have to vote to amend the agenda.
If you were to table it, then we would have to bring it back to the board as it was presented.
Yeah, can we move to amend our agenda now as opposed to the beginning of the meeting? Okay.
Also, so the amendment to the agenda is something that is, again, to the will of the board. Either you could consider that now. However, that's next. You currently have an action item that is read for your consideration based on a tentative adoption of a budget, which is item 10.11 on your agenda. The final item on this agenda is 10.12, and you're currently on 10.11.
Ms. Hall.
So we've already moved and seconded this, so I guess you need to ask, is there any more discussion?
I think we're still in discussion.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is there any more
Anyone else have anything on? I sort of echo Mr. Katchmar. I don't like voting on things without all of the information. And as
Like creating the meeting.
I know, exactly, right? So, but, that is where we are. Mr. Kashmar, I know you're gonna propose something.
No, I have a question.
Counting on you doing that.
Oh, I have a question. What's the last day we can vote on a tentative budget and meet our statutory guidelines of 2 different meetings? I think it's in a different week, providing notice of X days. Like, do we know what that is?
Yeah, so there's a 2-week window per policy DC from tentative to final adoption. And of course, so that would require that we have to get an advertising in the newspaper as well, and we have to get that in advance. It's going to be a really tight window for us if we were to consider next week doing a special called meeting for a tentative adoption, and then looking to do the subsequent meetings, which the final meeting, final option for the board to do this and get it done, if the tax digest were to come in the next 10 days, for example, is Tuesday, June 30th. And again, there's a trigger point on that tied to the millage rate hearings as well, which again are separate of the tentative budget adoption. So I believe that there might be a window in there. We would really need to sit down and look at that closely, that we may be able to do a special called meeting next week and work this process from there and still nail it by the 30th.
But is that our policy or state law? Because we can decide to not follow our policy. I want to make sure we don't violate state law.
Well, I believe that the policy is driven by a statutory requirement somewhere that ties to a tentative adoption that must be done prior to a final, but I would defer to legal for that exact code section. It's quite clear in your board policy manual under DC annual operating budget under the regulation DCR that at least 2 weeks prior to the proposed budget adoption date, the Board of Public Education will tentatively adopt the proposed budget. In accordance with state board regulations and procedures, a summary notice of the tentative budget adoption will be published in at least one edition of a local newspaper of general circulation, as well as announcement on district website.
I wanted to make is, I feel like we are trying to plan for something that we can't control, we don't know. The July 1st date is stuck in my head. Mr. Hediger is operating a lot from best case scenario, maybe we get it next week, maybe we get it 2 weeks from now. I'm operating from the communication we got that said July 1. And so I'm figuring, is it worth our time and energy right now to try to schedule new dates when it might change again? We should just wait till we get the tax digest and then schedule all of the meetings. And if that is going to be after June 30th, then we will have to put in place a spending resolution. But to me, to try to plan new dates, and then that time comes and we still don't have it, then we're right back at the table trying to do it again. So why don't we just wait until we get it, and then we can plan?
That's your leadership recommendation, a decision to make
My
that.
recommendation.
But so the other, I just want to understand, the other option is we could adopt a tentative budget, which is basically tentative, so we can make any changes we want, but that'll trigger the timeline for public hearings and input, and we can start all of those with, we don't know our revenues, we don't know our expenditures, but we're pretty close. So there are going to be changes down the road once those are finalized. We could also decide at the next agenda item to table or pull that item so we don't vote on a tentative millage rate. And if we do that, if we adopt the tentative budget but don't vote on a tentative millage rate, are we triggering the requirement to issue a notice of a tax increase because we're not doing a rollback? Or does that only get triggered when we vote on the millage rate? So if
But
we
it
adopt
shouldn't get triggered if we don't even know if the same millage rate is going to
Right. But
produce property.
What I want to make
values
sure is if we vote on a tentative budget, that's just it. It's a best guess right now, but then we can do all of our policy requirements of having hearings on it. But we're not having to advertise a tax increase because we don't know what the millage rate is. So we can meet all of our obligations to have hearings on the tentative budget with the caveat that it's tentative until we vote on it June 30th, right, until it's final. And if we're not voting on a tentative millage rate, then we're not triggering all of those other issues of notice of a tax rollback.
So that's a viable option. I guess I'm considering our stakeholders, if we have hearings without giving the public all the information that they need, then what are they coming to speak on?
What's the point?
Because they don't have all the data that they need to know, that they need to have to even make an informed request, endorsement of. They don't have it because we don't have it.
I'm with you, I'm just exploring options.
I'm considering stakeholders and what the information that I would like for them to have.
I think, so we're looking at having to have some way of having an actual budget as of July 1. Like, how are we going to serve the district? And that's what Mr. Holliday is saying. You can have a tentative budget that becomes a final budget. All final budgets are ultimately tentative. They can be changed. Or you can have a temporary spending resolution to get you from A to B. The provision of 20-2, 167.1 is where the 2 weeks sits. That's where you get the 2-week trigger, which is before the final budget. You could also have additional hearings if you were going to revise the final budget and let the public know, we understand you don't have the information now. We're going to have a subsequent opportunity for hearings on this, and then we're going to revisit the budget that will be final in 2 weeks, because no budget's final, and we will consider adjustments to the budget. But we really can't do the pieces that are required for the millage piece without the real numbers. So to put that out there, it just defeats the purpose, and it's not directly hooked to 20-2-167.1. So it's not like that is triggering us to have to move forward with the millage piece. That is the piece that has to be done for a tax increase, whether it's not rolling back enough or increasing the millage. So that process, I don't think we can start that process, to Mr. Holliday's point and others, until we know what that number is. And if you see what the notices look like, you can't make a notice without getting something from the county as to what the digest is ultimately going to be. It's just not, the process does not presume that you would move forward without that information. So,
Mr. Marsh?
Ms. Hall?
Okay, back to our due diligence. We know, we have in front of us what we expect our budget to be. There'll be some tweaks and changes here and there, but we have it here. So you asked, what will the stakeholders go on? They'll go on the presumption that what we have presented here, the tentative budget that we vote on, is the one that we plan to carry through with any changes that we decide to make. Our due diligence is to do everything we can, and the stuff that's out of our control, we have to wait and let that fall into place. But it's in our control today to adopt a tentative budget, trigger the process moving forward.
So the budget that is before you today, if you think back, was not the budget that I wanted to bring to you initially. I made cuts to that budget and was awaiting the tax digest to determine whether I could get back to the original number that I wanted and would not have to go to the reduced amount with all of those options for reduction.
Well, Dr.
So-
Watts, we can still do that.
If I had known we were not getting the tax digest, the number in front of you today would be different.
Okay, so instead of the 696,
I would have presented to
it
you
would have
the
been-
initial budget that I
Okay.
presented to you. I made those cuts because I thought by the time we got to today, or very shortly after, I would have the tax digest and I would be able to
yeah,
determine whether I needed to make those reductions or not.
okay. So the word tentative doesn't give you enough assurance that should the tax digest be in our favor, that you would still be able to create that.
I
new-
don't think it, I mean, based on everything that I'm reading, seeing, and understanding, there is nothing that tells me that it is going to be in our favor.
Ms. Grabowski?
So I think, while I agree with you, Ms. Hall, that we could go ahead and adopt this and we can always change it, if we don't think this is going to be our final, or if we don't think this is a true tentative budget number, then I think it is better that I was initially like, let's just go ahead and do this because we can change it. But the reality is, if we say this is our tentative budget number and the public thinks it's 696, but then we come back because we find that the tax digest is going to support the full budget that Dr. Watts has initially presented in order to carry forward all the strategic plan initiatives, and we say, oh, our budget is actually the 7, whatever it was, then it could make things messier than what our true intent is of a budget. I know it becomes more complicated to get everything scheduled, but it also seems to be a more earnest adoption of what we are truly anticipating our budget to be when we have more information. I mean, I can see it going both ways, honestly.
Isn't the interested public listening to the deliberation right now? Right? Here's our interested public, and the ones who are online. I mean,
But in our soundbite society, that's a very small number.
Yeah, it is. So the other thing is, going back to our informal presentation, there were some things that, Dr. Watts, there were some things that, some other cuts that you didn't know about? No, some expenditures you didn't know about. So we don't have, even with this, we don't have this is not a true reflection of what this budget is.
so Dr. Watts, what is your recommendation?
Again, I don't have all the legal ramifications in my head of all of this, but the ideal state would be for me to bring forth a budget knowing all the information,
Okay.
not to bring forth a budget based on what I think might happen. I mean, that to me doesn't make sense. You ask me for a budget, I have to build the budget based on data.
Okay. Okay.
And because there's so many moving parts, I do not have enough data to even be able to stand 100% by what we have put in there. Again, as recent as last night at 5 o'clock, there was an additional expenditure added to the expenditures that we're going to have to consider. So
do you
there's
recommend
there's
the
so
spending
many.
resolution? Do you
Right.
recommend the spending resolution?
I don't know that I'm ready to go as far as what we do next, but I will tell you, passing a budget today makes me very uncomfortable.
Okay.
And I think I shared that with each of you when I called.
Mr. Katchmar?
So if whoever made the motion and second to approve this budget withdrew their motions, I'll move to amend our agenda to remove 10.11 and 10.12.
Okay, who
Is
made
that-
the motion?
You want to do it that way, or you want to table them? Or do people want to vote on the budget?
You made the motion, didn't you? Or was it me? Ms. Hall made the motion,
Okay.
and I seconded it.
Let me ask Mr. Holliday this. If we are not in person, are we still able to vote on the budget? Because, for instance, if this is
call
moved
in
to
and
next week, I won't be here.
You can call
So
in.
I could call in and vote. No.
No.
The answer is yes.
Probably. District 3 is not going to let me to do a probability. I need to make sure my vote counts. So I'm just saying, if we're planning
can.
another meeting, a call meeting, then, again, that begins the problem.
As I understand, and the board attorney can confirm this, board members have up to 2 meetings in the annual year that they can phone in and vote telephonically.
Yeah. You haven't done that.
So,
Do you-
do you want to withdraw?
I'd like to withdraw the motion.
I move to amend our agenda to remove items 10.11 and 10.12 from the agenda.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Please, no more discussion. Yeah, any discussion? All right. All in favor? Thank you. No, thank you, Dr. Watts. Okay. We- All right, we are at, okay, I don't,
Dr. Hall?
We have GSBA conference next week,
yeah, I know.
so
Not on Wednesday.
I'm not sure the
Dave.
date. I'm not,
It's Monday,
Ends-
Tuesday.
It ends Tuesday, or Wednesday morning.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so we have public
SBA.
appearances now. Al Seeger? Okay. Bonnie Johnson? Thank you. And you'll have 3 minutes. Thank you so much for waiting.
Is there any way I could get longer since I've been here for 3 hours?
No. Because we don't want to be here longer than 3 hours.
You guys are getting paid there, right? I'm paying childcare to be here. I have some handouts for you, including my original speech, which is definitely longer than 3 minutes. So I hope that you can reference that in your leisure time. Good afternoon. My name is Bonnie Johnson. I am a mother of 3 SCC PSS students and a former educator with over a decade of classroom experience. I'm here today to ask for a call to action. Our district must reevaluate its relationship with technology, particularly in elementary classrooms. When one-to-one device programs were adopted, we were promised transformation. That promise was not kept. The evidence is no longer ambiguous, and we must protect our youngest learners. The data is stark. An MIT review of over 126 studies found that computers alone do not improve grades. On the TIMSS assessment, daily computer users scored 41 points lower in math and fluency and comprehension than those who typed. Who benefits when our children spend hours on screens? Not our students. The U.S. EdTech market is valued at $42 billion. These companies measure success by time on device, or generating data. A benchmark report by the Internet Safety Labs found that 96% of educational technology products used in schools share children's personal information with third parties. As attorney Emily Churkin puts it, ed tech is just big tech in a sweater vest. It seems that schools feel pressure to incorporate more screen time due to standardized testing being administered on digital platforms. Our children's school days are being shaped by software contracts rather than pedagogy. This is backward. Technology must serve the learning, not the testing platform. I'm not asking to completely eliminate technology. I am asking this board to establish clear, enforceable policies that, number one, prioritize handwriting and paper-based instruction in early grades. Number two, ensure technology choices are driven by learning goals, not vendor contracts. And number three, audit current ed tech tools for predatory data sharing practices. In closing, I'd like you to imagine a school where our children are free from the behavioral manipulation and surveillance that increasingly defines the rest of their digital lives. Our children are owed that space. It is within this board's power to give it to them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you for the handout. Thank you. Okay, next. Hang on. Harmon?
That was quite a convincing presentation. Just wanted to compliment you on that. Hello, board and staff. I thought it might be nice today to start off on a bit of a positive note for once. I wanted to say that for all the criticism, there are some genuinely good things this district does that it doesn't have to. You guys encourage and fund all state trips. You make it so that everyone can take AP tests without worrying about the costs. And the free lunch for everyone has been genuinely great. And I hope you all plan to continue it. You all have always been very receptive when students come to speak, and it's certainly appreciated. That brings me, though, to something a little more pressing, and it's something I've heard about for a while, but finally reared its ugly head in a more public way last month when a teacher was suspended at Savannah Arts because of pieces that students independently created. For anyone that hasn't heard about it, Google Savannah Arts teacher suspended, and you'll find plenty of news coverage. I'm not here to relitigate whether that artwork should have been taken down. I mean, we're well past that. But I'm here about a practice of retaliation that this district has fallen into that severely damages its relationship with staff and schools. Think about it this way. Your first reaction was not to punish the students because you knew they had done nothing inherently wrong. Your first reaction was to punish the teacher who works for you because that's who you hold the power over. In discussions with other SAA students, who are still quite upset, by the way, there was a lot of concern that you all would retaliate against our teachers for what we decided to do. And I wish I could say they were wrong for believing that. Now, there's an obvious argument about a slippery slope here. If you can tell teachers not to let their students make visual art you don't like, what stops you from telling the music department they can't play certain pieces, or the theater department from producing certain shows? And if that sounds absurd, read about what happened in the Watertown School District where the board tried to keep a school band from playing a piece about Stonewall. This was within months, by the way. And I hope this isn't true, but it really looks like the suspension was designed to have a chilling effect on speech at Savannah Arts. It's a timeless tactic from authoritarians that if you can frighten people into self-censoring, you can keep your hands clean while keeping people quiet. I'm glad the media attention is at least making that a little more difficult for you. I know most or all of the board found out about this from the news, like the rest of the public, but Dr. Watts, you either knew about it or are disconnected to an extremely worrying degree. Either way, the instinct for those in leadership to distance themselves from this shows that you all know it's wrong. I should remind everyone that the district still can and should make it right. Apologize publicly, give back pay, and hope you avoid a lawsuit. Now, if you are in a position of leadership and aren't willing to do the right thing because you're afraid or whatever other reason, just get out the way and let others who will do what they need to do. Now, I'm off to new adventures in a few months, but I want you all to know that there will be others taking my place at this podium. I want to leave off with this message to those students: trust no one but each other, and never stop fighting for what you believe. There are many who would like to see you silenced because it would make their job more convenient. whether they tell you that or not. Don't let them. Thank you.
Normally, we do not speak after a comment. I'm going to ask you to do something very important. I want you to have a conversation with that teacher and ask for the details as to why she was put on suspension and for the whole story.
So it becomes very difficult when you get 3 or 4 different stories from 3 or 4 different people, and then we're told that we're not allowed to know the actual truth. For example, the counselors at SAA wanted to tell me one thing. The principal wanted to tell me a different thing. Dr. Watts seemed to indicate to some students a third thing. The teacher was afraid of further retaliation should she say anything else. So you understand, I hope, that that's not an environment where truth thrives. I mean, it's an environment where people come up with a story that they want to come up with because information is not shared. And you all did have a chance to, when the media was covering this, you all did have a chance to tell them, right? I mean, I know you want to say, oh, staffing matters or this or staffing matters or that. You can talk to the media, and I'm sure they asked you all for comment. They always do.
Dr. Watts?
Thank you. Go ahead.
We were saying we don't make comment, but the public needs to understand that this is at base of personnel action, and that's why.
By law, we cannot say.
By law, we
By law.
cannot discuss, because we could have easily done a public manifesto about
Absolutely.
that. But this is basically a personnel matter, and we have to keep our integrity to that. Okay.
Okay, but
So I don't need to repeat it.
if that's the thing you're going with, don't expect us all to know the truth when we're not told the truth. That's just what I would like to say about that.
Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. I'll accept a motion to adjourn. No, we have no others.
So moved.
Moved second. All in favor? Aye.